Welcome to a deep dive where we're looking at, well, two really different sides of crime today.
Mm.
We've got the cold, hard facts from some major legal updates,
hmm
and then these incredibly chilling firsthand stories about personal safety just being pushed to the absolute limit.
Yeah, we've gathered the latest on some big cases, but also these confessions, shared within the true crime community online.
Right.
And these sources, they really force you to balance like critical thinking about all the information swirling around.
Yeah, information overload is real.
Totally. But also balance that with the just the gut importance of instinct. We'll look at legal outcomes, especially where power might be playing a role,
Okay.
and then pivot to these really detailed stories that show what happens when, honestly, advocating for yourself is the only thing left.
So that's the plan. We'll quickly break down the key details on cases like the Diddy sentencing, the D4VD investigation status,
Mm-hmm.
stuff you're seeing in the headlines,
Mm-hmm.
and then we dive into three stories you won't forget, highlighting the kind of bulk calculation predators use today.
Let's do it.
Okay, starting with the legal headlines. Sean Diddy Combs, sentencing happened October 3rd.
Yeah, and that was just days after he was denied both an acquittal, basically the judge saying not guilty, and a new trial. So no second chances there.
So the conviction stood. What was he actually convicted on again?
2 counts of prostitution stemming from events over the summer. Now, the max sentence possible was 20 years, like 10 for each count.
Okay, so 20 years max. What did the prosecution push for?
They asked for 11 years, pretty close to the max, really. The defense, on the other hand, they requested just 14 months. Quite optimistic, you could say.
Wow, big difference. So where did the judge land?
Right around the middle, actually, 50 months. That's 4 years and 2 months.
4 years, 2 months. Okay, but there's a catch, isn't there? The time served.
Exactly. And this is the part causing a lot of the, well, outrage online. He gets 14 months credit for time he already served while waiting.
So take 14 off 50. That's 36 months. 3 years, effective sentence.
Right. And then you factor in potential good behavior, maybe prison overcrowding issues.
Yeah.
He could realistically be out in just over 2.5 years, maybe even less than 2.
And the reaction? People feel justice wasn't served.
Yeah, I think for many, it feels like a failure twice over. First, the conviction itself was on what they see as lesser charges compared to other things reported, like that really disturbing Cassie video.
Right, that wasn't part of this trial.
No. So the legal system got a conviction on what was provable for this case, but then the sentence, especially after that time served credit, it just feels way too short to many people, given the whole picture.
Did you see that court sketch, by the way? The one where he's like dropping to his knees?
Oh, yeah, the absurd one, as some called it. That definitely fueled a whole wave of reactions online. The memes were something else.
Yeah, get the baby oil ready was trending. Wild. Okay, let's shift gears. The D4VD case. Celeste Hernandez's body found in the front trunk of his Tesla. What's the latest there?
All right. The absolute crucial thing to stress here is, currently, there are no suspects. D4VD has not been officially implicated in any crime.
Right, important distinction.
Very. But this case is a textbook example of a huge challenge for police. Severe decomposition.
Yeah.
Because the body was badly decomposed, they can't determine the cause of death, like what medically killed her, a drug, an injury, whatever.
Right.
And maybe even more critically, they can't determine the manner of death. That's the legal classification: homicide, suicide, accident, or natural causes. Without that, you can't really build a murder or manslaughter case.
So if they can't determine how she died, where does that leave the investigation?
Legally, it's very tough. The best they might be able to pursue, potentially, are charges for things like concealment of a corpse or improper disposal. D4V'd himself is cooperating, turned over his phone, other devices. What's also interesting, though, is how aggressively his manager distanced himself publicly, saying he works remotely 95% of the time, has zero knowledge, rarely interacts with D4VD. It sounds like serious damage control.
Yeah, definitely trying to create space there. And the pregnancy rumors.
Confirmed false. The autopsy confirmed she was not pregnant. So that speculation, at least, is cleared up.
Got it. Okay, quick update on the Idaho murders case, Brian Koberger. A small win for the victims' families.
Yeah, small but significant, I'd say. The judge permanently banned the release of the graphic crime scene photos.
Why is that such a big deal? Don't those usually stay sealed?
Not always. Sometimes media outlets can petition for them under public records laws. Here, the city had initially proposed just like blurring them out.
Blurring crime scene photos, that sounds
Hmm.
inadequate.
Exactly. The judge agreed, ruling it was insufficient and that the family's privacy interests in this specific horrific case outweighed the public's right to see that level of graphic detail. It gives some control back to the families.
That makes sense. Okay, now let's look at a case that really seems to involve potential influence, maybe power dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
The Ellen Greenberg case.
Right. Ellen, a young teacher, found dead over 20 stab wounds, including like the back of her head, her neck, places that are really hard to reach yourself.
And this happened after her fiancé, Sam, supposedly found the apartment door latched from the inside and had to break it down during a snow day.
That's the story. Now, initially, the ruling was homicide. Makes sense, right? 20 stab wounds.
Absolutely.
But then later, the medical examiner's official opinion was changed to suicide, which is, incredibly difficult to justify medically and legally with that kind of evidence. The family is obviously fighting this tooth and nail.
What makes them so suspicious beyond just the sheer number of wounds?
Well, besides the location of the wounds, there were reports of bruises on Ellen in various stages of healing, suggesting prior injuries. And apparently, her engagement ring wasn't on her finger when she was found.
Okay, so if the fiancé's story held, how did the ruling get changed from homicide to suicide? That's a huge shift. What convinced the ME?
Well, according to some reports, and this is the part allegedly left out of that Hulu docuseries Death in Apartment 603, maybe for legal reasons.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily new medical evidence. It might have been about connections.
Connections, like political?
Potentially. The reporting suggests Sam called his cousin, who actually got there before 9/11 did. Then, allegedly, his uncle and this cousin grabbed her devices, her phone, computer, whatever. And there's mention of a family friend, someone named Shapiro, being involved early on.
Wow. So the implication is interference, right from the start.
The implication is that there might have been immediate, sort of high-level intervention that could have shaped the narrative, influenced the investigation, and ultimately led to that highly unusual change in the manner of death ruling. It suggests that even a really high bar, like overturning a homicide ruling, might be lowered if the right people are involved.
That's it. Yeah, that's sobering.
Yeah.
It really highlights how the system deals with things after the fact, or like in the Greenberg case, maybe how the perception of justice itself can be manipulated.
Yeah.
Okay, let's transition now. We've talked about the legal system, investigations. Now let's shift to these really intense personal stories. Stories where someone's own instinct, their own actions, were literally the only line of defense.
Yeah, we're moving into accounts shared directly, often on places like Reddit. They're raw, and they offer these immediate kind of gut punch lessons. First one from a user called Office Fern 7 back in 2019. It shows how someone can just perform innocence and how quick people are to judge.
Okay, set the scene.
Father, outside a supermarket on a business call. His baby is in one of those carrier car seats, sitting on the bench next to him.
Right.
A woman, well-dressed, looks maybe mid-30s, just walks up very casually, picks up the entire carrier with the baby in it, and starts walking away like it's the most normal thing in the world.
What? He must have panicked.
Totally. He goes after her, tries to get his baby back,
Mhm.
and instantly she flips the script, starts screaming, "Help! Help! He's trying to take my baby!" And then she pepper sprays him.
Oh my God. So she weaponized the situation
Mhm.
immediately.
Perfectly calculated. And the bystanders, this is the horrifying part. They see a guy, maybe looks a bit disheveled because he's panicking, wearing like a Deadpool t-shirt, wrestling with this smaller woman who's screaming bloody murder.
They believed her.
Instantly, they jumped in, held the father down, actually cracked 2 of his ribs in the process. They were completely convinced he was the kidnapper.
Unbelievable. How did it get resolved?
The mother came out of the store, saw what was happening, and just reacted. She apparently tackled the woman, grabbed her hair, squeezed her throat, basically fought her until the woman dropped the baby carrier and bolted, jumped into a minivan, and drove off.
Thank God the mom came out. But the police response afterwards, also problematic.
Yeah, according to the Post, the police, when they arrived, seemed more focused initially on figuring out if it was some kind of domestic dispute, asking if the baby looked like the husband, if the husband seemed inappropriate.
Seriously, instead of getting a description of the minivan,
It sounds like they were trying to rule out the parents first, which is standard procedure sometimes. But in that moment, it felt incredibly misplaced. They lost precious time. The suspect was never found. The police apparently thought she was likely suffering from severe mental illness, not necessarily part of an organized trafficking thing, but still, the failure of bystanders, the initial police focus, It's chilling.
Deeply alarming. Okay, next story. This one sounds like pure premeditation, but within a family. Attempted murder by mother-in-law.
Yeah, posted by someone called Latex Lucy in 2018. Well, she called her mother-in-law Latex Lucy. The poster is, or was, a 27-year-old woman with a severe, life-threatening latex allergy. Like, even sniffing a latex glove could potentially kill her.
And the mother-in-law knew this.
Oh, absolutely. Knew it very well. And here's the method. It's the calculation that's stunning. The MIL, Latex Lucy, somehow acquired a bunch of medical-grade latex gloves. She then cut up 75 of them. 75. And created a layer of these cut-up glove pieces underneath the woman's duvet cover on her bed.
That's meticulous and evil.
It's incredibly premeditated. This isn't heat of the moment. This is planning, acquiring materials, executing it, pure attempted murder, using a known medical vulnerability.
What happened to the victim?
She woke up 17 hours later in the hospital, apparently white, sweating, barely able to breathe, severe anaphylactic shock.
Oh my God, and the mother-in-law. Any remorse?
Get this. Latex Lucy actually called the hospital while the victim was there. Not to apologize, but apparently to brag about her forethinking, her excuse. She claimed she thought her daughter-in-law might, quote, wet the bed, and she is just trying to protect the mattress.
That's pathologically audacious. What about the husband, the son?
According to the Post, he showed no spine. His only visit to his wife in the hospital was apparently to ask her to apologize to his mother.
You're kidding me.
Nope, that's what the source says. The passivity, the enabling, it's just awful.
What was the legal outcome for Latex Lucy?
She was sentenced to 13 months in prison, plus a month in a psychiatric facility. But she was released after serving just under 8 months.
8 months. For trying to kill someone in such a calculated way.
Yeah. And after getting out, she actually requested to apologize to the victim in person. Thankfully, the victim refused. It just shows, again, how sometimes the legal consequences feel completely out of sync with the level of intent and harm.
Wow. Okay, our final story. This one really hits on the failure of the system to protect someone until it's almost too late. Stalking.
Yeah, this account comes from someone stalked relentlessly for 6 months by a guy she dated for only 1 month.
1 month of dating, 6 months of stalking, that's intense.
Unbelievably intense. The stalker, named Douglas Eugene Jackson, went all out. We're talking 45 to 50 phone calls a day. Texts that were like 50 pages long if printed out. He created this huge digital footprint to harass her, 12 different Reddit accounts, 4 Facebook profiles. He even apparently reactivated an old MySpace account just to try and reach her.
That's terrifying digital obsession.
And it escalated. He sent her one of those IP-grabbing links trying to find her physical location after she was forced to move because of him.
Did she go to the police?
Oh, yeah. Filed over 7 police reports. And the response she kept getting was basically, well, we can't really do much. Technically, at this point, he's not doing anything illegal. Just harassment, you know.
An infuriating line. Until they do something.
Exactly. The system failed her repeatedly, so she had to protect herself. She started sleeping with a chair wedged under her doorknob. She started showering with a gun nearby.
Living in constant fear.
Total siege mentality. And then, inevitably, he escalated. Douglas Eugene Jackson kicked her door in 1:15 in the morning.
Oh, God.
She was ready. She fired twice, hit him in the chest. Police found him hiding in some bushes outside. She survived, as she put it, where so many people did not.
Thank goodness she was prepared. What happened to Jackson?
He was arrested, prosecuted for that incident. But here's the chilling postscript. In 2020, she updated her story. Douglas Eugene Jackson was sentenced again, this time to 15 years in prison, for stalking another woman in 2019.
He got out on parole for stalking her and immediately started stalking someone else.
Almost immediately after being released. This time, it involved threatening the new victim's dog, her property. He's a documented, persistent serial predator. His behavior didn't stop.
That's absolutely terrifying. And there was another connection, wasn't there, to an earlier post she made?
Yes. This is the final twist that validates everything. She had previously posted about being creeped out, thinking her landlord was somehow watching her, like maybe tampering with a smoke detector, moving furniture slightly when she was out.
Okay.
Her final update confirmed it wasn't the landlord, all that weird stuff, the feeling of being watched, the subtle violations of her space. It was him. It was Douglas Eugene Jackson, her stalker, trying to break in, trying to surveil her before he finally kicked the door down.
Wow. So her paranoia, her intuition, it was completely right. She just had the wrong suspect initially.
Exactly. Her family had apparently dismissed her fears about the creepy landlord, but her gut feeling that someone was violating her space was spot on.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together. What jumps out when you hear these stories back to back, from the legal cases to these personal accounts?
For me, it's the chilling consistency in the effort, whether it's, alleged powerful connections potentially manipulating a legal outcome like in the Greenberg case, or the sheer meticulous planning of Latex Lucy, or the relentless digital and physical pursuit by the stalker.
Right. Predators and maybe powerful people show incredible um, strategic effort to get what they want, whether that's avoiding justice or inflicting harm.
Yeah, and the common thread often seems to be that the system, whether it's law enforcement or even sometimes family and friends, it often needs undeniable, quantifiable proof before it acts.
Which is often too late. We saw that with Diddy. Maybe the conviction was on lesser charges because that was the path of least legal resistance, the easiest thing to prove beyond doubt.
Exactly, and the stalking case is the starkest example. The law didn't really intervene meaningfully until a weapon was fired, until violence actually happened.
So the lesson seems to be about defense, information defense, self-defense. The self-advocacy wasn't just, buying a gun or calling a lawyer, though those happened. It was about trusting your gut,
Yeah.
documenting everything, trying to build that proof yourself, because you might be the only one who believes it initially.
Right. Your intuition is often your first and sometimes your only reliable alarm system.
Okay, so final thought then.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking specifically about that stalker, Douglas Eugene Jackson, a documented serial predator purely driven by obsession and entitlement who immediately reoffended after getting parole.
Mm-hmm.
What more can society actually do?
Mm.
Beyond the current legal system, which focuses on punishment and containment after the fact, what measures could or maybe should be enforced to truly stop someone like that? Someone whose threat is so deeply ingrained and proven to be persistent.
That's the really tough question, isn't it? Do we need to think about things like mandatory, maybe even lifelong digital monitoring or location tracking for certain offenders upon release? Right. Especially when the crimes are rooted in this kind of obsessive surveillance and harassment, where does public safety intersect with an offender's rights after they've served time but clearly remain a danger?
Heavy questions. Something for all of us to think about.